Welcome back to the Daily Outlet. I'm Carl. That's Andre. Tonight, I hear we got a spicy one, which I'm assuming means totally cool, low-key, and not offensive at all. Am I correct?
It depends who you ask.
That's about right. All right, what do you got for me?
Well, first of all, being offended is a very broad category, I assume.
I mean, everybody's offended by everything,
Yeah.
So
last night I'm watching the game.
right.
Had a little bit of wine, and I came across an article, very interesting article, on fecal matter. And this was related to how different areas of the world with different diets all differ in their physical content that they produce from their rectums. And I'm reading and reading, whatever you eat changes everything. And then I started wondering, and this is a question for you, Carl. It's a serious one, okay?
Okay.
Do you think that people who have different diets have different colored buttholes?
Excuse me?
Seriously, do you?
Do people who have different diets have different colored
Okay, let me rephrase that.
anal cavities?
Not cavities, just the sphincter, the outside. Do you think that people who live in different parts of the world, people who eat crickets and tarantulas compared to some guy in New York eating pizzas and hoagies, do you think that the effect of their diet changes the color of their sphincter?
I honestly have no idea. It's not something I think about regularly, the color of the sphincter. It's not, as long as it's clean, I'll eat it.
Well, facts. But it should be studied, I think. I think they should have a montage in a museum somewhere of every country in the world, one picture of someone's butthole.
And like their diet listed underneath it.
Exactly, what they ate for the last 10 years. Frequently.
So like, say, Asia, where they eat a lot of rice. And then here, where we eat a lot of fat.
Processed foods, stuff like that.
And maybe in the South Americas, where they eat a lot of beans and stuff.
A lot of
things
bugs,
like that.
stuff like that, yeah.
I'm not sure that's what they eat there, but sure.
Yeah, crickets, tarantulas.
Might be a little. Okay.
You know what I mean, though?
I don't necessarily. Well, I think the problem with hanging it in a museum is people will consider it art,
It is art.
which then circumvents science.
Okay, Carl.
So if you're looking for a scientific study, and I'm looking at this purely from a how do we make money off this shit kind of thing, right?
Taking pictures of buttholes.
If you're going to take pictures of buttholes for science, you need to not hang it in a museum, and you need to get a grant for that shit.
But
Right?
Carl,
Someone needs to pay you to conduct this study of buttholes. If you want to hang it in a museum and call it art, then someone can pay you for that. Either way, you getting paid, but you got to pick your audience.
is science not art?
No.
You're telling me that collapsing stars aren't beautiful? As beautiful as a painting of Mona Lisa?
You really don't want to talk to me about beauty.
Well, I'd give it a shot.
Because beauty's relative.
How dare you? How
What do you mean, how dare I?
dare
There
you?
is someone out there, and I'm sure he's a very lovely gentleman, who would find you beautiful.
Many do.
I don't. It's relative.
Well, I get a few shots in you, and I guarantee I'll change your mind. Also, I have one quick thing to say.
Okay.
My life was recently threatened by an associate of mine. May or may not be a blood relative. May or may not be an illegitimate child that I don't talk to.
Is it time for the shout out?
It's time for the shout out.
Alright. We're throwing it to Andre, aka Papa Dre, for the shout out. Who's shouting out today?
Today's shout out goes to Mason McClarity, my illegitimate son. He's an obese bastard. He's gonna love that part. And I've known him since he was a little lad. Unfortunately, cycles in the black community continue to do their thing, so I ran out on him. And for that, I'm still not sorry, Mason. I love you. That's it.
All right, back to the topic at hand. Buttholes
Buttholes, yes.
and fecal matter.
Not so much the fecal matter anymore, just mainly the butthole.
Okay, what about the buttholes?
I just think some cultures don't have them to waste that they're processing, so they have different colored buttholes.
Colored?
Yeah.
So, like, because our buttholes empty out a whole lot of processed foods,
yeah.
Taco Bell, fast food, things like that, ours are darker, lighter?
I think darker.
Darker.
Because the fecal matter rests in the sphincter right there, sphincter right there.
Okay.
And I feel like we have more commonly unhealthy bowel movements than a lot of other countries in the world. Mainly Asian countries.
I would imagine ours are much greasier.
Greasier, dirtier, more poisonous.
Here's a counterpoint. What about the countries that eat better than we do, but don't believe in wiping?
Well, they have bidets for that.
Okay, that's France, or I'm assuming. I don't know. That's a French word, right?
Losers, yeah.
Oh no. We've kind of won a war.
I don't even know what country you're talking about. Who doesn't wipe? I thought everyone wipes, at least with a sock.
I'm talking about the ones that wipe with like a hand.
Or leaves, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like they still get cleaner than we do.
You think so?
Yeah, dude. Bugs and berries and stuff like that, they find.
So you think all the roughage leaves less fecal matter left behind?
Exactly. It's cleaner. It's not processed.
I mean, that's valid.
Only your hands can touch that.
Not sure that's cleaner.
Hopefully, That's my my point for the day. I wanted to ask what you thought about buttholes in the world.
I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting thing to look into.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's going to look into it, but maybe you should write a grant proposition and we can look into it. Who sponsors that kind of thing? Who pays for us? Sally Mae? Does Sally Mae pay for grants about stuff?
I'll just contact UNM Health Department tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good idea. UNM, hook us up.
Give us a scholarship.
Give us some grant money to photograph buttholes. It'll be fun. We'll learn a thing.
It'll be smelly. Carl, what's on your agenda tonight?
On my agenda? I don't have much on my agenda tonight.
What's going on in Carl's world?
In Carl's world?
Everyone knows what's going on in my world. Buttholes and
fecal matter.
Fecal matter, baby.
I mean, I guess sort of not anywhere near those lines.
Well.
But human body, if you will.
Interesting.
I don't know if I've got kids.
Mm-hmm.
You have yet to meet them. Seeing as you're my child from one
I met them.
woman.
That one time at work, I met them.
Oh, that's valid. You did meet them. I was thinking maybe we'd have one of them on the show. Let him just talk shit.
You got to get the boob kid on. I want to meet the boob.
That's what we're gonna talk about right now.
Oh, perfect. Yes,
this kid's been Googling boobs on his school laptop.
I mean, it's not butts, so I'm not mad, but it should have been butts.
I mean, to be fair, I 100% agree with you.
But boobs.
As an ass man, nothing against boobs.
Yeah.
Love me a fine pair of boobs.
Yeah.
Love me any pair of boobs. Let's be honest.
Boobies are boobies.
Boobies are fantastic. So I can't blame him.
No.
But the kid's 8 years old.
He's a fucking G.
Right? So my ex-wife calls me and she goes, "Guess what your son's been doing?" And I'm like, "Well, probably something bad since you called him my son, and this is the one you wanted." So, yeah, he's been Googling boobs and sharing pictures of boobs with his brother and his classmates.
We need to give him an economical speech on how to capitalize on selling booby pictures.
That's what I'm saying. Now, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
Yeah.
Hence why we're doing this for free.
Boobies and nudies. That's what I'm going to tell him to call it. Boobies and nudies.
We should have him just open up shop, stand on the corner. Baby. Hey, yo, I got their pictures of boobies.
Hey, they meet in the cafeteria. After they close down, they're doing dishes. I'll show you some boobies.
So we had to sit down and we had to have a chat with that kid about, look, because you don't want to shame him for being sexually curious. I I remember being 8 years old. I'm pretty sure I was thinking about whacking it at 8 years old. So you don't want to shame him, but you also can't have him looking up porn on his school laptop.
Yeah, he'll get expelled.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we had to sit down. We had to have a chat with him.
How did he take it?
I think he didn't fully understand because I think he's not quite at the age where their boobs are a sexual thing yet.
Yeah, it's just funny
I
to
think
look at him.
it's funny, right? Like boobs. I mean, we do the same thing, but they also turn us on, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas him, it's just funny, right?
Saying the word is funny.
Right, exactly. So it wasn't so much a conversation about that's bad as much as, look, homie, there's this thing called a browser history, and we can track what you're doing.
Delete that
so
shit.
maybe delete it or don't do it, right?
True.
He was fine with it. I mean, it was a cool chat, and of course then my daughter, 12-year-old little hussy, she walks in the room, and we got her one of those gizmo watch things. It's a phone. So it's a phone, but it's a watch, right?
Yeah.
So it's only got the speakerphone on it. You can only call like 10 folks, right? It's no big deal. That way we can track where she is, what she's doing. We got it for her because she started 5th grade. She was going to be going to school and back by herself. You know, she'd be home for like an hour by herself. So we're like, we need you to have a phone so you can call us and all that kind of stuff, right? She comes walking in the room. We're in the middle of talking to this kid about you can't look at boobs on a school laptop. We're not ashamed of you, but you can't be doing this, right? She walks in and she throws her watch at us and goes, "This is broken. I need a phone." And I'm like,
Nice.
I mean, I applaud you for making everything about you
Demanding it.
because you're clearly learning from the best. Her uncle. Shout out Pilo. Pilo. But yeah, I mean, I know she's old enough,
Yeah.
but I mean, you don't have kids. But let's
Well,
say you.
Mason, I apologize. I have one son.
Okay, but did you get him a cell phone at 12 years old?
I got him a birthday card when he was 17 for the first time. Mason, I'm sorry. Anyways, continue.
I just don't know how I feel about getting a 12-year-old a cell phone in this day and age.
My first phone, I was 12.
Okay.
And it was one of those piece of shit, one thing, like numbers down here, little black and white screen up here.
Yeah.
I could play fucking Snake on it, whatever that game's called.
Like the old school Nokia.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I had prepaid minutes, so I
Okay.
could send text for about the first 5 days of the month.
And then you were done,
I was just playing games. I had Daddy Yankee's my ringtone, you know, that kind of stuff.
naturally.
But just to have that, like, phone. But back then, technology was way different.
100%.
I couldn't Google shit. I couldn't FaceTime anybody. There was no
If
social
you turned
media.
on the internet, it took a half hour for it to load, and it charged you $45.
Exactly. So I don't have any kids, but I know goddamn well this is a dangerous thing.
And she's a girl.
Exactly. And you know how dudes are at that age. Ruthless.
Oh, ruthless.
Little fuckers.
Yeah.
They're gonna fucking be sending, God forbid, dick pics. Everything.
I'll-
Little horny fuckers, man.
Yeah, I don't know. And I researched this. I'm like, all right, maybe we get you a phone. Maybe we get you one of them prepaid phones that we put like $35 on a month.
Yeah.
And if you go over that, you got to pay for it because you're doing chores to earn money, whatever, right? You can't get a not smartphone.
No.
You
I mean,
can't
you
do
can
it.
get a flip phone, but then you're gonna put her in a position of being bullied at school.
Yeah,
Like, let me see your
exactly.
phone, and she's pulling out this shit, and now people are talking shit to
Motorola
her. Yeah.
Razor or whatever.
You don't want to do
From
that to her.
1999.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think she needs a smartphone. Like, smartphones are great.
Yeah.
I love mine. Shout out Apple,
Now we're gonna get sued.
communist bastards.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't trust her to not download Instagram, Snapchat
Because she will.
because she will.
I mean, I can't even imagine how middle school is nowadays. It's fucking gotta be crazy.
Oh yeah,
How smart these kids are at such a young age.
and you've been there sooner than I have,
Yeah. And even back then it was
and even
wild.
back then it was wild.
So, and especially because now you have kids being raised by parents who are younger.
Yeah.
People who had kids when they were 14, 15. They're still that same generational technology boom kind of thing. So they're iPads, iPhones, touchscreen, whatever the fuck in their house.
Oh my god, my kids already have. They don't even have phones. They've got Kindles, laptops, Xboxes. I mean, like, they never need to get off a screen.
And the phone would just make it that much
The
easier.
phone would just make it that you carry that thing around with you.
Exactly. When you're bored, pull it out.
Yeah.
That's why I stay off mine. It's fucking.
I mean, when I'm bored, I pull it out too. But
You
usually
got
I
3
get
kids, so I'm not
trouble
too
for
sure
that.
how well you pull it out.
It's yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But yeah, it's
the game.
Technology's crazy, man. And I'll see I'll go to Walmart or somewhere, see some fucking 6-7-year-old kid just walking, not even looking where they're going or listening to their parents, just walking on their phone or their iPad, just fucking playing games or on YouTube or something. I mean, I understand there's informational programs on these phones and shit like that.
Right.
But it's only going to lead them to that addiction.
Well,
really early in life.
And here's the issue. I've got Wi-Fi in my car.
Mm-hmm.
It came with the phone plan. It's like, hey, you get this for free, and I was like, all right, cool. It sucks.
Yeah.
But my boys, every time they hop in the car, Kindles are out and they're trying to watch shows on the Wi-Fi. I'm like, can you not wait the 15-minute drive till we get back to my house and hook up to my Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Like, can't you just talk to me? And I know that makes me sound like an old fart, but I mean, like, I don't get to see my kids all the time. I want to talk to them. I don't want their face buried in a phone or an iPad or whatever, you know?
Gotta pick a poison, man.
Exactly. I'd rather, you know what, even if you just talk to me for the 20-minute drive from your mom's house to my house, sure, then maybe we play some Xbox together or whatever. But put the phone down for 20 minutes.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
It's rough. It's rough.
Do you think it's going to be easier for them to integrate? Because as they get older, do you think it's almost a worse thing for them to have technology at a younger age? Because they'll understand it so much better when it comes to maybe if your son wants to go into IT and he's had a fucking phone and Kindle since he was 9.
And he knows what he's doing.
And he's used to programs and stuff and getting around certain things. You think that I think could be a good aspect.
Right.
But a majority of kids aren't going to go into the IT field or work for Google or YouTube or whoever.
Yeah.
It's a strange time, man.
Yeah.
It's a strange time. I think, honestly, one thing that's cool about it, though, is we can do stuff like this.
Like this?
Like this, dude. Fucking ain't right.
Yeah. No, this is dope.
I like it a lot. I was going to tell you something, too. It just fucking, your fucking thing on technology, but... Oh, yeah. The cool thing, too, is with technology, you can get really good pictures of buttholes.
Oh,
that was my whole intro.
I see how you brought it all back
it's
around.
It's a revolving door, baby.
Back
That's
to the buttholes.
That's what I'm
I like it.
No. Carl's world. It's an interesting one.
My world's boring.
Well, outside looking in, it's interesting.
Okay.
My world's boring. But one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Okay.
Is that racism?
Oh boy.
I'm not going to go super deep.
Okay.
But I think it's almost, and this is going to sound insane, better to meet a blatant racist than a subtle one.
100% agree.
Like the guy we met the other day, who just ignored my presence with everything that I was trying to offer.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, hurts more than someone just saying, fuck you, nigger. Because 90% of that comes from ignorance, and the other 10% is probably some black dude in high school fucked his girlfriend. So now he has this...
Or whatever.
Yeah, now he has this,
Or some black dude in high school for his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad just hates black guys now, and he brought it down to his son.
Exactly. And now it's even less subtle, but it's still that kind of...
I heard a comedian, I forget who, forgive me, once say that he loved the South. He was a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
African American. He said he loved the South versus being up north, because up north they talk about you behind your back, and you hear them whisper, but you don't know what it is, right? But they're always looking at you. Down south, it's just walking down the street. It's just, and he goes, at least you know where you stand down south.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, I wouldn't know. I don't know if anybody could tell by looking at me. I wouldn't know. I mean, I've had experiences from the outside viewing racism. I'm a corn-fed white boy from the Midwest. I've never had anything done to me ever.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that isn't white privilege, you're fucking wrong. 100% is.
See, I think that's why I always enjoy, and a lot of people who come from my Snap and who watch this know that I throw the N-word around probably more than anyone you've ever met in your entire life. But I do that out of comedic advance and comedic timing.
Okay.
I don't do it out of hatred in any extent.
Right.
But the more power you give to any word, the longer it's going to take for anyone around you to progress over that word. And I understand there's a lot of negative discharge from that word.
Yes.
But if you keep giving the same people the same satisfaction of using that word and just instantly pushing your buttons, it's never gonna fucking stop.
So you're more of the opinion that you should use it more so it loses
Exactly.
its sting.
And I'm not saying walk around saying nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, but if you do use it, don't be offended when someone else uses it. I don't think there's such thing as it's my word. It's our word. Because if you're using it in a term of endearment, and then you also get offended when it's not endearing to you.
So you're saying you don't get to pick and choose when you like that word.
Exactly.
Either you hate it, which means you shouldn't use it,
Mm-hmm.
or you love it and everybody should use it.
And it should just be a word.
I'm going to let you know right now,
Mm-hmm.
never going to say it.
Well.
Until things drastically change.
And you're legally allowed to.
And I am, and there is a law on the books that says honky over here can use the N word.
It's all
I'm not
good,
gonna do
baby.
it. I'm not going to do it. I don't care, because it still means something.
100%, yeah.
It still has power.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from someone with a complexion like mine, it means different things.
Mm-hmm.
Because people of my complexion used to actually own people of your complexion and would use that word in an extremely derogatory term.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that if things are going to change, it's not on my side. It's not on my
Because this is
colored spectrum side of things.
Yeah, this is gonna sound not terrible, but just truthful. You're never gonna be able to change both extreme aspects of the black and white culture.
No.
What happened 200 years ago will always impact certain families and cultures in certain areas of this country. Maybe not forever, but for the next foreseeable future.
For a long
It's
time.
never gonna change.
Yeah.
So those people, I think, obviously aren't as progressive as people who migrated from the south to the west, or from the south to the north, stuff like that, to the southwest. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who've experienced Mexican culture, Filipino culture, stuff like that. That's where it's gonna be tough, because that word will always mean the same thing in those communities.
Yeah.
Always. It's never gonna change.
And I'm sorry if you and you may be able to go to California,
Mm-hmm.
and that word, while it still has an impact, may not have as big of an impact there
Mm-hmm.
on folks who moved there, had kids. Their kids are there now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to Georgia, Alabama,
Yeah.
Virginia, and you just start slinging that word around, it hurts a lot more there,
Mhm.
because that's where all this was born.
Yeah. It's personal to everybody there.
Literally everyone.
Everybody
I would even be willing to bet that there are white folks there
that don't like hearing it.
who don't like hearing it because it reminds them of their shame.
It's almost embarrassing to them to hear it.
Yeah.
Like it's
I've known a lot of Southern folk who are ashamed of the Confederate flag. They're like, that's not what we want to be known as.
Mhm.
It's the yeehaw. Have I told you about my uncle?
Which one?
My uncle, my mom's brother,
Mm-mm.
lives in Louisiana.
Mm-mm.
He is a South will rise again good old boy.
Is he also your father?
He is not also my father.
Okay, cool.
Here's a fun story.
Just wanted to make sure.
He is my mom's brother and cousin.
Oh, so it's one of those things.
So her mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
each had a sibling that got married to each other. So that like it's already like real ding ding ding, right?
Jesus.
Right? So her aunt and uncle had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And at like 6 months old decided they didn't want a kid. So they dumped him off with my grandparents, who then raised him and adopted him. So he's technically, by blood, her cousin. But he's been raised as her brother since forever.
Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how incestual is that? Is that like just like a 2? Kind of like a... Because there's blood.
Well,
Right.
they've never had sex.
But then you just said your cousin and your uncle and your aunt had the kid?
So 2 brothers over here,
Uh-huh.
2 sisters over here.
Mm-hmm.
Brother and sister got married. Brother and sister got married.
Mm-hmm.
1 kid, 1 kid.
Mm.
There's no incest there.
Oh, okay, I was confused. I heard aunt and uncle, and I thought your aunt and uncle had a kid, didn't want him,
No.
gave him to your grandma.
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's a 0.
Yeah, it's 0.
Okay.
It's totally legit. I tell that story because it's funny, I'm like, yeah, my uncle's also my mom's cousin, and it's fucking hilarious. And they're like, what part of the South are you from? The deepest.
Louisiana.
My brother. So my mom's from Louisiana. My dad is straight immigrant German from the plains of Nebraska, right? Like the family farm's still out there. And so my brother likes to claim that we are part German, and on my mom's side, we are part French pirate.
Did the French have pirates?
Fuck yeah, they did.
Interesting.
Fuck yeah, they did.
They must have not won too many seas.
You've never heard of Jean-Louis Baptiste?
Nah.
Who's a pirate I just made up?
I don't study
prove a
French
point?
history.
There's a lot of hands in the air during French history.
See, how are they rowing the boats?
Yeah. They were too busy surrendering.
Too busy surrendering. That's good.
Also, you don't row a pirate ship there, bud.
Yeah, you do, the big ones.
From like the Trojan War? Big old slave galleys?
Yeah. How else do they transport people?
Sails.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Thank you for exposing my ignorance of the ocean, Carl.
How dumb are you?
I don't study these things. I'm a landlocked person. We don't do well in the ocean.
You grew up on the streets, not on the
In
ocean.
the streets of military bases.
Yeah.
I was exposed to nothing.
I'm hardcore.
Oh my god.
I don't know. It's a crazy world out there.
It is crazy.
Um,
It's a good world. I love it.
no, it's great.
I love
There's lots
everybody.
to see. There's lots to see.
Mm. You know what I really want to see?
Buttholes?
No, I can look at my own anytime I want to.
Okay.
However, I am going to start tracking my diet down.
Are you?
So 10 years from now, when this grant gets approved, I want to be the first picture taken.
You want to be the first one. So in the museum, as there's just a room just full of pictures of anuses,
Mine will be the biggest.
yours will be the biggest.
Actually, mine will be the mural on the ceiling is what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
It's almost like you're looking into space.
Can mine be on the floor that everyone walks on?
Walks across and spits on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spit on it.
I can go for that. All right, buddy.
Just a couple of buttholes staring at each other.
It's like, what's that? Alexander and God touching fingers?
Yeah,
It's
whoever it
buttholes.
was, yeah. So,
All right, man.
all right, well,
This was a good one.
good talk. Good
Buttholes,
talk.
boobs, racism.
Buttholes, boobs, and racism. That might have to be the title. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We're not monetized, so it's going.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. So, we're.